Let's bring in Alexander Khara, who's the director of the Center for Defense Strategies and a former advisor to the Ukrainian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, joining us this hour live from Kyiv. And it's good to have you, sir. Thank you. Ukrainian President Zelensky then posting this after his meeting with the US President. It was long and substantive, covering truly important issues, including how to protect our people. Donald Trump may have given some insight into that plan in his NATO press conference. Have a listen.
They do want to have the anti-missile missiles, okay, as they call them, the Patriots. And we're going to see if we can make some available. You know, they're very hard to get. We need them too. We were supplying them to Israel. And they're very effective, 100% effective. Hard to believe how effective. And they do want that more than any other thing.
And that was in response to a young Ukrainian reporter who asked what the US was prepared to provide at this point. So let's be quite clear about this. What does Ukraine need? And what signs have we seen over the last day at The Hague that the US is indicating that they are prepared to provide it?
Well, first of all, we would love to see the shift of thinking in Washington and Trump to acknowledge that there is no appetite in the Kremlin to agree to a ceasefire, let alone the long and lasting peace between Ukraine and Russia. And with this shift of thinking, there might be a different course of action of this administration. We are facing the Russian terror each and every day. The Russians sending up to 500 drones overnight, plus missiles, and they're destroying civilian infrastructure. And certainly we need an air defense system, and actually it was one of the key priorities for our president to talk to Donald Trump during the J7 Kananaskis summit, but unfortunately it was abrupted, and Trump didn't meet with Zelensky then. Unfortunately, there was a meeting, and I believe it was pretty successful. I think that partially because the previous meeting with the Atlantic Council, the alliance agreed on this substantial increase of their defense expenditures. On this positive note, Trump met with Zelensky, and that's why there were no, let's say, rivals between them. So we would love to see change of thinking and then course of action. I don't like the Western leaders repeating mantra that there is no military solution to this conflict, but the only diplomatic one. People in the Kremlin think in different way. They try to launch an offensive this summer. They are not interested in any ceasefire, and Putin de facto rejected many appeals of Trump to have that. And the goals of Russia to destroy Ukrainian statehood and to subjugate Ukrainian nation is there. Recently, during the St. Petersburg Economic Forum, Putin said that they don't have a plan to annex Sumy region, but if they succeed, they will do that. And finally, he said that wherever the foot of Russian soldiers sets, it's Russia. So he clearly indicates the genocidal and expensive neo-imperial intentions towards Ukraine. That's why we need to have the change of thinking in Washington and you.
And that would be my next point. A change of thinking you want both in Washington and in Europe. This NATO summit's final declaration didn't include a condemnation of the war for the first time since Russia's full invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Now, I know you've told our producers you would have wanted stronger language, but, and I quote you here, but we recognize the new political reality. Can you just explain to me what you mean by that new political reality?
Well, when Donald Trump was elected, even before talking to Putin and Russians in general, he ruled out our membership in NATO. And actually, he blames NATO for starting this war, which is a nonsense. When the Russians attacked Ukraine back in 2014, Ukraine was a non-bloc country, and majority of Ukrainians didn't want to join NATO. So it's not about the expansions of NATO. It's about the desire of Putin to expand its empire over Ukraine now. now, and then it will be Moldova, Georgia, and some other countries. Secondly, yes, we're disappointed that there is no strong language condemning the Russian illegal and unprovoked invasion. But fortunately, we see that NATO in general and the United States particularly recognize that Russia is a direct threat to its security. And actually, all those expenditures that we agreed during this summit aimed to deter Russia in the future, which is good. And we are part of that. Some countries will, let's say, count their expenditures with Ukrainian assistance as well. Thirdly, we are not happy that there is no word about Ukraine's future membership. But from the other hand, there was a consensus of NATO alliance back in 2008 at Bucharest summit that Ukraine and Georgia will be members of NATO. Then there was a Vilnius and Washington declarations where there was an irreversible path of Ukraine towards the membership. So there is nothing has changed in terms of the consensus and readiness of other allies to see Ukraine there. And now it's important for us to get defense material to protect ourselves and to degrade Russia's aggressive capabilities.
Thank you. Your perspective is crucial as we continue to report on what came out of the summit and what happens next. Thank you, Alexander. Alexander Khara is in Kyiv.
Thank you for having me.